It's the blue eyes for me. It's the Ferrari for me. No. It's the Super Kicks t-shirt for me. Yes, guys, I'm back with some more Super Kicks related stuff. Everyone knows that I love Super Kicks, and I only kind of tackle things and put this sounds very egotistical of me, but put my name on things that I truly love. Super Kicks is one of those things. We know the people behind Super Kicks, and we know they're constantly trying to create new things and new designs, and as you see on the screen right now, a brand new kind of redesigned, easier to navigate website. And there's some stuff on sale, like some sweatshirts and all of that kind of stuff. Of course, you know, if you use the code Josh00, you can get free shipping. You just got to go to superkicks.com. That's SPRKIX.com. You get some free shipping, site-wide, completely anywhere in the world. If you want to get some stuff like some sweatshirts or a cool gold shirt, or just, you know, what I like to call the traditional Super Kick shirt, that one you see on the screen right now. All different kinds of stuff, some hoodies and some beanies and some different kinds of wrestler designs and podcasters and all this kind of cool stuff. I love Super Kicks. I'm going to keep talking about Super Kicks because I'm very passionate about things that I put my name against, and this is one of those things. It's like, okay, you like me, maybe you'll love Super Kicks. You'll find something you love, feel confident, feel fresh, feel trendy, kind of everything. It just kind of fits with anything. I'm a believer in, to feel confident, you have to look confident. And this is the kind of stuff I feel confident in. It makes me feel confident that I can take on the world. Feel like I get in with today's society. All that kind of cool stuff. So if you go to superkicks.com, that's SPRKIX.com, enter the code Josh00, you get yourself some free shipping. Grab something you love, I know you will, and then people will be saying, it's the Super Kicks t-shirt for me. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Are We Recording Yet? I am Josh. I want to thank you for all the love I've received for the first few weeks here on Are We Recording Yet? I've got a cool chat coming up today. It is a wrestling reverb reunion. Yes, the one and only Kevin Carroll will be joining me today. I don't know how the conversation got to McDonald's, but somehow we get to McDonald's. So make sure you listen to all of this chat, and we will get to McDonald's. I don't know how. If you want to follow me on any socials, it is Josh Robinson 00, pretty much across the board. I'll leave all my links in the description below, as well as Kevin's links as well. So, without any further ado, enjoy today's beautiful conversation with the one and only Kevin Carroll. Okay, guys, you heard in my intro, it's probably the most natural fitting guest for this show, because out of how long did we do Reverb for, Kevin? You and me together. Was it a year and a half?
18 months, roughly,
yeah. Something like that. So it's a little bit of a reunion today, everybody. I want to say welcome to Wrestling Reverb, to be completely honest, because like Kevin is here and not only that, this is the first time we're actually chatting to each other since that day that we ended Reverb.
Yeah, it's wild. It's been a long time since I've gotten to hear your voice directed at me.
It's crazy. It's like old times, even though it's only been 3 months, which a lot has happened in 3 months.
It's been the longest 3 months on record.
It is crazy. I've got the one and only Kevin Carroll here, and it's weird. We're both on video, which is not something we did with Reverb, and we're in a bit of a new space. And to be honest, this idea kind of in my brain started with Reverb in a way, because we would have so many chats that were sometimes like an hour long before we'd even start recording, and like, oh, we should probably talk about wrestling and actually record a show at some point, and we just chat about whatever it may be. And that's where the kind of premise for this show is kind of started. So, I mean, this is kind of perfect fit. We're just going to kind of spitball. But first and foremost, Kev, it has been 3 months. We've talked sparingly on Twitter and just our lives. We've just been living our lives, to be completely honest. It's been a pretty crazy year. And how is everything in the world of Kevin?
Well, it's been a busy couple of months. Obviously, everyone around the world is being affected by the pandemic. That's no secret. And on top of that, we've had the most contentious and just crazy batshit insane presidential election probably ever in the history of this country. So I'm obviously as a journalist, I'm right at the center of that. So I'm just trying to, to figure it all out, to sort everything out. Pennsylvania, of course, where I live, is obviously a focal point in this election too. So it's
Yes.
even more magnified for myself. I'm reaching out to candidates and it's, oh God, it's been a lot. I didn't anticipate this much drama, but here we are.
Yeah, it's a worldwide. It feels like a worldwide election. Of course, I won't spew out any knowledge and preach any of my kind of ways on this show. If you want to see what I think about politics, just go to my Twitter. I'm very vocal on there. But it's in whoever you voted for, whoever you support, it's irrelevant in this situation. When you're a journalist, you just got to kind of unbiasedly report. I would assume. I'm not a journalist, but that's what I would assume. You got to kind of unbiasedly report. How has it been for you? Because how long have you been in your job now? It's been over a year, hasn't it?
Yeah, July of 2019. So
Yep.
16 months roughly.
Yep. So it's probably been the busiest time for you. Well, I mean, this year probably would have been pretty crazy with the pandemic, and now this election. You'd be a pretty busy guy.
Yeah, back in March when we first went into lockdown, and we were working from home, that was a big adjustment. We went back to the office in June, and then from there it was the pandemic's still going on, but that almost had I don't want to say it took a back seat, but with the election coming and how important our state was, that had to be our primary focus.
Yep.
And it still is. Even a week and some days after election day, we're still hammering it away on this election, because as evident as it is to most everyone who won, it's clearly not evident to everyone. And until that bridge is completely burned and we know that and everyone's on the same page, we're gonna have to keep reporting on it.
Yeah, it's like so. It's just been very crazy. I won't touch on it too much more because I'll just start spiraling in that sense. But it's been a crazy time, and I think with the pandemic and then this, and then we're getting into the end of the year. I think everyone's just expecting 2021 will just be this dawn of a new time and we'll be all fine. And I just don't think it's necessarily going to happen like that. It doesn't just be like December 31st and then January 1st. It's like, oh, pandemic's over, craziness is over, go back to living your normal life. I think we're all realizing that it's now November at time of recording. It's November the 13th in my land because I'm in the future, but it's not stopping anytime soon. Anything.
No, it's not. I mean, back in March, we thought this would be done by the summer, and by when the summer rolled around, we thought, oh, definitely by like Labor Day. And now we're getting close to the end of the year, and cases are as high as they've been over here. Especially, we had our update in Luzerne County, Pennsylvania today. I think it was the highest day in months. So clearly, this is not going anywhere.
That's just crazy. We have no community transmission of COVID Australia wide, which is bizarre. Like it's like 14 days without any community transition. There's still active cases from people flying in internationally, but they're hotel quarantining and stuff like that, which is, knock on wood, fantastic. But who really knows? You don't know when another wave could pop in. You don't know what the kind of go is. I know they're getting closer to a vaccine and everything like that, but it's then getting everyone vaccinated, and then how effective is that? And then it's going to take some time. And this is just our normal for however long this is going to go on for. But besides the pandemic and besides the craziness of the US election, I know that this is, well, from my understanding, Kev, we won't talk about too much about wrestling because, but you really haven't been that involved in watching a lot of wrestling.
No. So, even before Reverb went off the air, I was sort of fading in and out of wrestling.
Yeah.
I often had to rely on you to sort of drive the actual, what happened. And I offered more opinions, but yeah, no, it's really just, it's a couple of things. Obviously with work and everything, like we just said, it's been so busy. I haven't had the time, but even like at the beginning of the year, I made the time. I went out of my way to
Hmm.
set aside a couple hours to get caught up. And then I don't know, just over time, it hasn't really, and obviously pandemic era wrestling with.
Guys, it's always going to be a show with me when we have internet issues because I'm on the fucking backside of the world. So, Kev went muted for a minute. It is what it is. But we're talking about wrestling, pandemic wrestling. That's where you kind of were. So just pick up where you left off.
Yeah, just with everything going on, the way wrestling sort of had to adapt to the pandemic era, it just hasn't really, I just haven't been with it. Haven't really been a big fan of it. And as the months went on, I just, less and less and less time devoted to wrestling. And now I haven't watched wrestling in a while.
Yeah, I've kind of I still watch wrestling and I still very much like wrestling, but I'm no longer in love with wrestling and I no longer seek out wrestling. If wrestling comes to me and it's kind of grabbing my attention, I'll watch it. I don't go out of my way. I don't worry about like if I'm working or anything like that. I'm just like, if I miss it, I
Yeah.
miss it. It's just how it is. Um, it's just, you know, talking about it on a constant basis was taking a lot of love out of it for me. I was just like, I'm forcing myself to watch this instead of wanting to watch this. So it's just like, it's just time to kind of take a step back and just enjoy wrestling again. And I am still in when I do watch it, I love it. It's just more so there's just so much and it's so much that is overwhelming. Like yesterday, for example, I watched NXT and Dynamite. And why I like those shows, it was almost like, okay, can we get to the end of the show so then I can go and do just live my life, like go and do other things. Like I want to enjoy other parts of life, and wrestling takes up so much of a chunk of your week. Sometimes it's hard to do that, and just working. It's impossible to watch all of the wrestling if you are not at home all the time. It's just impossible to do. So that's where I'm kind of at with wrestling. Still love it.
Yeah, it's a little almost overwhelming with how much wrestling there is, and you sort of
No
you
joke.
tell yourself, I got to watch as much as I can, but it's impossible to do, like you said, unless you're
Yep.
just completely at home.
Yep.
And I'm not, and you're not, and I know
No.
that, and most people aren't. So it is tough. And yeah, I mean, and there are sometimes I watch YouTube clips. I
Yeah. Oh
know
yeah.
what's going
I
on.
keep tabs. I'm always watching. Like I always watch Raw because I'm usually home. I never really get to watch SmackDown. It's just I'm never home on the weekends. I watch NXT when I can. I always make sure I always make an effort to watch any pay per view, whether it's the mainstream companies. I always make sure that I watch the pay per view, whether it's live or on delay. I always make sure I watch those. But I like you, Kevin. It's kind of if you're on Twitter, you're going to see what's happening anyway because we're in that world. So it's not like we're not keeping tabs on everything that's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be so hard not to, honestly. But
Yeah,
that's fine. That's how I like it. I like to at least know what's going on. I
yeah.
like to keep tabs. If I can't watch, I like to know what people are thinking.
And exactly because if you keep tabs on it, it's like, oh, I might check that out. I might go out of my way to go look up that match on the internet or go watch it somewhere. And there's been certain times within that, like, for example, I haven't been able to watch a lot of SmackDowns, but, Sasha and Bailey was on last week. So I made sure I watched that and like just little things like that. So I definitely am knowing what's happening. And like you said, YouTube is great because it's like a 3-minute version of these matches. And you're like, yep, I've seen everything I need to see.
Yeah, and
So,
they put the promos and stuff on there too. So
yeah,
you are getting the bulk of the show. If it's a really good
yeah.
match and I hear about it, I'll go out of my way. I know that there was one in NXT UK, I think
Mhm.
last week that I still haven't gotten to watch, but I do want to watch between Walter and Ilya Dragunov. I heard that
Yeah, it
was
was so
amazing,
good. You need to go and
and
watch that.
I'll
It's a
probably I'll
classic.
probably get I'll probably get to it.
Yeah. This is the beauty, I guess, of the network is kind of you can just kind of watch it when you want to.
Yeah.
I just recently got an iPad, so I'm like playing
Oh,
PlayStation and just having my iPad with stuff on that I need to catch up on. And it's just like kind of,
very good.
you know. Um, I know you've never been a huge like gamer. A casual gamer, I would call you. I'd guess like you play it. You have an
Yeah,
Xbox.
that's fair. If my friends are playing, maybe, but I'm not like I was never really huge into the video games, even
Yeah.
growing up. When there wasn't really much else to do. You can't drive, you can't go anywhere. But I never even played the video games then.
Oh.
But I watch the streams when I can on replay, typically because stream when I'm at work.
Mhm.
But it's fun, and honestly, I was like, when I first was like made aware of Twitch and all that sort of thing, like the streaming.
Mhm.
I was like, why do people film themselves playing video games? I didn't
Yep.
get it until I started
Me,
watching the
same.
videos. And
Hmm.
I was like losing my mind at like some like just like people laughing and it's not just you. I've watched a couple of my friends from college stream as well on Twitch, and they stream different games that I've never even heard of, and they just seems like so much fun.
No, I was the same. I was like, why would you want to watch someone play a video game? Just play it yourself. And then I was kind of like, oh, okay, I get it. Excuse
Yeah,
me.
no, I definitely understand it now. It is a lot of fun.
But the only reason I bring it up is because the world's gone kind of into a bit of a frenzy with the next gen consoles that have came out this week at time of
Yeah,
recording. Anyway, it's PlayStation 5 was out yesterday, my time. I believe it'd be out today, your time. Xbox was at the start of the week, and I haven't got I wasn't lucky enough to have $800 to go buy a PlayStation, but and pre-orders were like done. You know what I mean? Like there was
yeah.
like two consoles to buy in all this damn country, I feel like. But it's pretty crazy the lengths people will go to get these things. I don't know if you've seen whether it's on the internet or whatever, but people go nuts over these things. Have you seen any of this?
I've seen both Xbox and PlayStation like trending on Twitter, and the little caption is like, "Check out what people will do to get their Xbox or their
Hmm.
PlayStation." And I check it out because like it's funny. I get it. People, they're commodities.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I think it's that whole thing of FOMO and
Yeah,
like missing out on the hot new thing. And it's like, oh, I've got to have one because everyone else has one. That's a little bit how I am right now. I'm like, missing out on it all, but I'd like to wait anyway because I mean, for prices to drop, and not only that, they iron out the kinks in the first release. So you get the second
yeah.
release when they've ironed out all the kinks. So,
Yeah, you let the guinea pigs get at it, and
mm-hmm,
they have all the problems, and then they get
mm-hmm.
fixed, and you sneak in there. You might get it even at a discount price too if you wait a little bit.
See, and not only that, did you see those people? I don't know if you follow Xbox on Twitter or seen the tweet that they put out. There was like videos of the Xbox Series X smoking, and everyone was
Oh,
like, "Oh
I
my
know
god, there's a
exactly
problem."
where you're
And
going.
then the people were actually they were blowing vape smoke into the Xbox, and then Xbox had to tweet out. They said, "I can't believe we have to say this, but please don't blow your vape smoke into an Xbox Series X."
It's
What
so
the
stupid.
fuck?
It's so stupid. I did see that. One of my friends actually sent me that, and I was like, "That can't be real." And then like 2 minutes later, they're like, "Nope, not real." Like,
Like so many people have been waiting to get their hands on these things, right? And pre-orders are gone before you can even get on the site, basically. And then people buy them and do that. It's a waste of
yeah, well,
money.
you were just like wiping your ass with a couple $100s.
Like that's expensive, and you're just gonna do that. It's like, oh my god, I'll happily have it. I'm not even an Xbox person, but I would happily have it if you don't want it. Like, what the hell? Like, just I don't understand it. Um,
Yeah.
what else has been going on in the life of Kevin? Has anything crazy happened in the last few months that you're like, that'd be cool to talk about? Because I don't know. I
Uh,
don't. It's not like you're.
Ooh.
It's not like
Uh,
we're on a daily talking basis, I guess.
Nah, I mean, I think just the craziest thing, and just to go back to what we were saying, is we've had all these like national figures, important people, just like in my backyard, basically. Like no matter how you feel about the Trump Pence people, I'm not a fan. I don't think that's a secret. But
Me
like
either.
Mike Pence was literally the next town over. Like he was like 5 minutes from my house, just doing a thing. I got to speak. I got to go there, and I've gotten to speak with like congressmen and congressional candidates, and the president's wife was in town. Like it's cool. That's like the crazy thing is like we're such a small area where I'm at, and yet we're like the most important place in the country for a couple of months there.
I seen everything within that, and it was like Pennsylvania. Well, where are they going to? Are you guys a swing state? I've learned more about American politics in the last
Yes,
six
yeah,
months
we are
than I ever
probably
knew.
the most heavily contested state in the country.
Yeah, so I seen all about. I've learned so much about that in the last 6 months because it's hard to avoid.
Yeah,
It's just everywhere and just everything that's going on. But it's pretty. It's how would I describe? From my point of view, from someone I guess for the outside looking into the country, it's pretty intense. I mean, it would be pretty tense situation to be a part of, and just being like on edge. I mean, I'm on edge, waiting and waiting and waiting, and then so many announcements come out, and you're just like, oh my god, it's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, it seems. And
Yeah, definitely. It's been very tense. It's been very hostile, especially as a journalist.
yeah,
The
hey.
profession is under attack by the government, by the White House for 4 years now. Journalists have been getting,
Hmm.
roasted and berated, and it's not fair. It's not, we're not really like, it's just for doing our jobs. I've had people at these Trump rallies, tell me I suck, tell me I'm a piece of shit, tell me my job's bullshit, and like that, I don't believe them, but it still sucks.
I could imagine it would be great in that kind of. You're just doing, like you said, you're just doing your job, and to have someone who is the most powerful figure in the country, if not the world, or one of the most powerful figures in the world, kind of tell you that basically, in a, not you directly, but in your form of work is just kind of fake and all of this kind of stuff. It's we've watched a profession that we hate that word fake, so
Yeah.
I can imagine that that wouldn't be the funnest of things. Um, it's I had to talk to you about something. I had something in my brain that I was like, oh, I've got to ask Kevin this, because I was talking to my guest who I recorded with yesterday about Star Wars, and we both love Star Wars. We've watched Star Wars, and
Oh,
we were. I know this is kind of a weird transition off of that to this, but whatever.
this is
It
how it
was,
goes.
yeah, this is how it goes, tangents and just going everywhere. But I was talking to my guest yesterday, who I won't reveal because I don't know what order I'm gonna release these in. But we're talking about the Star Wars prequels, episodes 1, 2, and 3. And I believe we've had a few conversations about this, but not in anything too much in depth. I know we talked about like Rise of Skywalker and all of that when it came
Yeah.
out, but
Okay.
the prequels, they get a lot of hate. Or, well, I won't say they get. There's two ways with people either love the prequels or they hate the prequels. Um, I love all Star Wars movies, but I don't think sometimes people are like, oh, it's just Anakin and Padme's love story. And when you actually think about Star Wars as a whole, all of the Star Wars movies, aren't they all just kind of love stories?
The prequels, man.
Are you not a
I just
prequels guy?
no, it's not. No, it's not that I'm not a prequels guy. It's just I understand the polarization. I think it mainly comes from a group of people who grew up on the original Star Wars films, and
Mm,
that was their thing, and that was their bread and butter. So you bring three new movies along, and with the special effects and some of the story, and I understand why people don't like them. At the end of the day, though, they're Star Wars movies. I understand why people don't like the new trilogy, but they're Star Wars movies with Star Wars characters and Star Wars, stuff. You get the blasters and the
mhm,
droids and all that. I'm a fan. I love every single Star Wars movie, or main trilogy, old trilogy, new trilogy, standalones. I love them all.
mhm. I'm the same. I love it's Star Wars related. Of course, I like some better than others, but
Yes.
Star Wars to me is a love story and it's family drama. That's basically what Star Wars movies are at its essence, at its core. Anyway, I know there's other things going on, but it's just a giant soap opera, really, with lightsabers.
It's a space opera. That's what it is. I've heard it referred to as exactly that because it's at the end of the day, it's father and son, Luke and Darth, and then you have, you bring in family members, you bring in Luke, you bring in Leia and everybody, and then in the prequel trilogy, you look at Anakin as a young boy and
Hmm.
Padme, and then even in the sequels when Han Solo and his son Ben, and
Hmm.
not to spoil, but I think at this point.
It's been out. It's been out long enough. It's your fault if
Yeah,
you.
I think at this point, if you're not caught up, you're probably not trying to be. So
Yep.
it is. It's family drama, and it's just really really entertaining. And the worst Star Wars movie is better than it to me. Better than like most regular movies.
What is the worst Star Wars movie in your opinion? And there's only one right answer to me. Don't you
Oh,
dare say.
I don't think
Don't
I'm
you?
gonna. I don't think we're gonna agree.
Oh, oh. What?
I'd probably. Jeez, I mean, I wasn't like huge on Solo. If we're gonna include like the two
Uh,
standalones,
I wouldn't include those, but I mean, I like Solo to be fair,
I
but
like Solo. It's just if I had to rank like all of them, but if we're going like just the
it's
main story arc, Probably Attack of the Clones.
Yes, good
Oh,
boy. I agree. Attack of the Clones is the only one where I'm like, eh.
yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people. The consensus is either that one or Phantom Menace, but Phantom Menace had Darth Maul
So
and
good.
like the greatest lightsaber battle ever.
I
I know you
love the
love
Phantom.
Phantom
I
Menace, so
love the Phantom Menace.
I'm just kissing your ass a little bit.
You are, which is a good thing because it's my show and I can kick you out. So,
I was gonna say you hold the button, man. This could be over in 1 second.
um, Attack of the Clones. It's funny. My guest yesterday said the same thing. Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, I
Whatever.
think that's like the consensus. I know some people would probably say like the Rise of Skywalker or the Last Jedi.
That's my favorite. Rise of Skywalker and then Phantom Menace. I
Wow,
love Rise of
I
Skywalker.
loved this whole new trilogy. I know that's
Me
maybe
too.
controversial, but I thought they were all really great.
I thought I like. There's some things about the Disney trilogy, if you want to call it that, that I'm like, okay, I wish they would have done this and this, but for what we got, I liked everything, and I really liked Rey. To be completely
Yeah,
honest, I thought she was a really good, strong main
yeah.
character. Like I really
And
did.
you know what it was too with this trilogy. And you could say it for like Revenge of the Sith, but this trilogy I felt like was mine. You know, like
Yeah.
I grew up and I got to go to the theater and
Yep.
psych myself up for weeks and weeks and weeks and months, even years. I was waiting for these movies. Even with Revenge of the Sith, I was 9 years old and I wasn't like super anticipating that movie coming
We
out.
were
It
so
just like
young. We were so young
yeah,
when those movies came out. I know I went to all three of the prequels in theaters, but I was a child. Like I was
yeah,
literally a child. Revenge of the Sith is so dark, and I love
yeah.
that about Revenge of the. It's such a dark film. Like when you
Isn't
watch that, it's
excellent.
like it's so good. Oh, it's so good, but it's so dark, and like they kill children and shit in that, and it's just about like destroying everything, and
That's what
I
yeah,
love
it
it.
was
I
literally just
love it for that.
one man's turn to the dark
Hmm.
side, literally too evil. Like that was it. You're building there, but that was the movie where he got there.
Hmm. And it's just a really dark film. I feel like Star Wars is going to come up a lot with a lot of people, and just kind of asking that question just to kind of be just to see what differences there are. But so far we're 2-0 on Attack of the Clones, so we'll see how we go.
Yeah,
We'll
Star
see how
Wars
we
is
go in
so
that.
universal. It's like
Hmm.
you're hard pressed to find someone who isn't like at least a casual Star Wars fan.
Or like at least watched it to the point where they know what's kind of going on.
Yeah, they have the basic gist. Yeah.
Speaking of things that I have a very vocal opinion on, and I know that you do not agree, is a show called How I Met Your Mother.
No,
Now, I know that's your favorite show ever, isn't it?
it is my favorite show ever.
Yeah, I like it too until they got to the last season. We've talked about it before how I'm not the biggest fan of the last season. I felt like they wasted my time. I've got a job for you. I want you to convince me in the next couple of minutes why the last season actually is good and it actually flows with the rest of the story. Because to me, it's a waste of time. The floor is yours.
Oh, well, I don't know how much of an argument you're gonna get from me, honestly, because the thing with the last season that made it feel a little cheap was that they took 8 seasons to get through, so long. They did so much good storytelling in 8 seasons, and then that last season was like a 2 day. It was literally like a weekend. It wasn't like years. It was literally 3 days. And that I wasn't crazy about the idea. I think there were great individual episodes in the last season, and I thought they were really bad individual episodes in the last season. My favorite episode was the one where you meet the mother and she like you go through her backstory. That's my
Mhm.
favorite episode of the whole show.
Damn.
But there were also some real shitters in that season. The last episode was bad. Um, a lot. Obviously, the finale was not good. I don't think there's a person alive who will say, "Oh, that finale was great." The finale was bad.
Mhm.
But I will say this though, because I know you want something. I've over the year, it's been about 5 years now since the finale.
Something like
Since
that.
then, and I've watched the show over and over a couple of times. I've sort of made peace with the actual end, like the very end, like the way it happened, the way it turned out with
Mhm.
Ted and Robin. I've made my peace with that. You can't you have them doing all this shit for 9 seasons, 8 seasons, 9 seasons, and it was bound to happen. I just hate that it's like every other character kind of got screwed though. Like Barney and Robin got screwed big time
Mm-hmm.
because you had especially Barney. Barney had this great character arc through the years of going from like this low life sleazy guy to this really outstanding man, and they took it away like it literally like in the blink of an eye, and then he became the same guy he was for X amount of years.
Mm-hmm.
That really pissed me off. Lily and Marshall kind of getting tossed to the side and all this kind of sucked because they're obviously good. That was the strength of How I Met Your Mother, was the 5 main characters were also equally important and equally good.
Yep.
So they sort of got the shaft. And obviously the mother, who I think was my favorite character through the last year, gets screwed because she's dead. Although, to be fair, I think that there's an inkling in my mind that was the case because she was never there. She's clearly gone. She's clearly not part of the story.
Yeah.
Through the years. And that sucks, but I'm okay with Ted and I don't want to say I'm okay. I've reconciled with the idea of Ted and Robin being the end.
I think the only problem, I don't have a problem with her being dead so much. It's just that we spent the entire 9 seasons of a way to not have Robin and Ted together. And every time they it was just like, you know what I mean? It was like on and off and blah, 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 blah. All for them to just be like, well, go find Robin. And then.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a cop out, especially because there were so many, as many reasons as there were over the seasons for them to be together. There were also very many for them not to be.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got on, if you thought about it, that could have been the story, how they weren't supposed to be together. And that's why it took so long for Ted. It took Ted so long to figure it out, but he did. You thought he'd figure it out, but then he didn't.
It sounds like a toxic relationship to me, but we won't go there.
But yeah, damn. I I love that show so much.
I know you do. I'm on the team. How I Met Your Mother is probably, it's probably arguably up there with some of the greatest sitcoms of all time. When you have that kind of group, I guess it would be that. Friends is in there, although it hasn't aged particularly well. I don't think Friends is a very outdated show, in my opinion. Like, you watch it now and you're like, I don't think this really would fly that well now. Maybe it's just me, but it's just my opinion. I don't know how you feel about Friends. Are you a big Friends guy?
Never really watched Friends.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought that was the case.
There's only a small group of shows that I've actually watched.
Yeah, you're not an Office person, are you either?
I've never sat down and watched it. I've watched the reruns on Comedy Central a lot, so I feel like I have the idea of the show down, and it's funny. It's very funny. I just never sat down to binge it.
That would be, I think that probably to me is the greatest sitcom of all time is The Office. A lot of people say that it's just very cleverly written, and the way it's it almost doesn't feel like a sitcom in a sense. Like, it's not that standard formula for a sitcom. But I would assume, the kind of talked about, would you have a Mount Rushmore of sitcoms?
Of sitcoms? Probably. I don't think I've thought about it, but I can get you one right now. I'd say How I Met Your Mother because I'm biased. Seinfeld probably has to be up there.
Yep.
And then this is where we'll probably split. I think Arrested Development is got to be up there. If you consider it I would consider it
it's a sitcom. I would consider it a sitcom.
That's one of my favorites ever. That's such a good show. That was it took that sort of style where you didn't have the laugh track. You didn't have the one camera.
Which I like, yeah. I like that non-laugh track stuff.
That's 3, and I'd probably say The Office is 4.
I would probably go, see, this is more so not so much my favorites, but what I think is in television history, the best. I'd probably go Friends, Seinfeld, The Office. The 4th is hard because a big part of me is I have to say Parks and Rec, but I don't think it's in there. The 4th one is so hard. I don't think Big Bang Theory is that good. I wouldn't put that in there. But then it's stood the test of time, and so many people love that show. I don't know why. Modern Family?
I fell out it with Modern Family. I stopped watching after a while, but the early seasons were so good.
I don't know what my fourth is hard. It's definitely Friends, Seinfeld, The Office. How I Met Your Mother might be in there. It's at least
Yeah,
in
it's
the
tough.
in
And
the
there's also so many of those old sitcoms that like I've never seen, like Cheers
Yep.
and Frasier and
Hmm.
things like that.
Yeah, I've never seen those. I think I've seen Frasier. I've never
I'd
really
probably
watched
I'd
it.
probably I'd also probably put that 70s show in the
What
mix.
about The Simpsons? Is that a sitcom?
I guess it is. It's obviously it's animated, so it's a little different, but it's not the same like idea, I'd say, as a
Was The
sitcom.
Simpsons would have to be up there with one of the greatest television shows ever, wouldn't it? I'm not really into The Simpsons anymore, but obviously it's been on for 31 seasons.
I
It
was gonna
has to.
say it's the got to be the longest running animated show ever, right? Yeah.
I would assume so. Yeah,
I can't think of
easily.
anything that's been on that long.
Would the
I know
Simpsons
there's
be in there?
could be. I mean, again, that's the thing of the Mount Rushmore formula is that it's all up to you.
I would say The Simpsons. I'll
Okay.
I'll say The Simpsons. Why not? I mean, The Simpsons to me is probably. I don't watch a lot of animated stuff anymore. I don't know if it's just I've grown up or if I've just seen a lot of them like Family Guy, The Simpsons, American Dad, Bob's Burgers, whatever you want to watch. I just don't watch any of them anymore. It's not that I don't think they're good. It's just I don't particularly enjoy them anymore. Maybe I'm just a bit sick of that format. I don't know how you are.
I was a big Family Guy fan for a while. I mean, I don't watch the new episodes. I honestly sometimes have to remind myself that it's still on the air.
Yeah,
But but there's good episodes. And South Park, I'll probably watch until
South
the
Park.
end
Yeah,
of time. Like the South Park pandemic special, I thought was amazing.
South Park is very clever. I was never really a big South Park person until later on.
Yeah.
Um, that's been going for a long time too, though. Not as long as The Simpsons, but
No, the Simpsons started in like 89 or 90 or something. South Park was like the end of the 20th century.
yeah, exactly. So The Simpsons is you have when you say greatest television shows of all time, I guess you have to kind of think about The Simpsons in a sense. It's been on a major network in the States for 31 seasons.
Yeah.
That's
It's
crazy.
especially into this new era where like TV shows are on such a short leash. To keep going and to keep being like very popular and to have good ratings, like I'm pretty sure they pull in good numbers. That's the stand the test of time like that is so impressive.
Yeah. Do you you might not know, but in the States, what night does The Simpsons air on? Because from my understanding, it's like a Sunday or something, and that's like
I
good
think
television, isn't it?
I think it is I think the Sunday night Fox block is South Park, or no, not South Park, The Simpsons, Family Guy, something else. But like, yeah, they have prime time slots.
Which is crazy. We don't have primetime Simpsons here. It was always Simpsons used to air. So when I was a kid, and watched The Simpsons on when you actually had to used to watch a television show at the time, it was scheduled instead of just whenever you want because we're spoiled now.
What a
It used to be on at 6 p.m. on it was called Network 10, which is like a pretty major network here, and it was on at 6 p.m. and then right after it was like an Australian soap opera, and it used to be like the hour when you sat down and you had dinner with your family and you'd watch The Simpsons for the kids and then the soap opera for the parents, and that's just what we always used to
Oh
do
wow.
for that hour. I don't know why, but it was on every single. I think it was on Monday through Saturday, and then new episodes would air like later in the night, once a week. But that's just what you did. It was 6 o'clock. It's dinner time. It's time to watch The Simpsons, and you used to just watch that every night. Maybe it's just something about that's why I don't watch it anymore. Is because it's just too. I don't know. I guess the nostalgia isn't there anymore. It's like, oh, I don't get to watch this with my family anymore. So it's like, what's the point? But yeah, The Simpsons has been going for so long. The only show that I can actually genuinely think that is like not gone longer, but as long is Raw.
Yeah. The longest running episodic television show.
In
Something,
history.
something.
It's had more episodes than The Simpsons because it's on every week.
Yeah, because they don't have breaks for seasons like most shows do. They just go and
It's
go.
pretty crazy when you think about it. It's been on once since '93, and it's
93.
still. I know ratings are not like the best it's ever been. However, they're still pulling in numbers, and
Yeah.
I mean, they can't be doing too bad if they're still on the air. You know what I
No,
mean? That's
for
what it,
theirs, obviously people will make us. People love to talk ratings. For Raw's slot, they're doing so well.
it's not like they're on, network television. They're on cable. And from my understanding, I think they've got a pretty good deal with the USA Network, and they're live all around the world. Like, there's not a lot of shows that do that. That's
Yeah,
live all around the world every single week. So I know, but it's just kind of, when you think about long running television shows, you have to kind of talk about Raw, because there hasn't really been anything that's run consistently where it's never been off. It's always been on.
yeah.
It's
And you
crazy.
talk about something that, like, is very, very still not as much maybe, but still very like niche. That could have been gone off the air in a second. USA could have pulled that
Hmm.
whenever for whenever, and for that matter, when SmackDown came on, they could have pulled that immediately, but they didn't.
Hmm.
It does numbers, and people watch.
Yeah, and I know we live in kind of a world now where everything's on demand, and television ratings are very different now, I guess. Maybe not this year because of the pandemic, and more people are at home. More people are like, oh, 8 p.m., I'm going to watch this show. But we live in a world where, instead of watching something when they tell you, you watch when you want to watch, which is kind of probably the formula of how the next 10, 20 years will go. Do you think that the television scene will ever die? Do you think it will all become like an on-demand subscription service that everyone just kind of
Uh,
signs up to?
you know, it's tough. I feel like there might come a day where we are just like completely Netflix, Hulu, and the thing is, these new streaming platforms keep popping up, but
Hmm.
you're not getting new television channels.
They're
I don't know.
decreasing, if anything.
I think there are always some people that are going to be like sort of traditionalists, and
Hmm.
with live sports, you're always going to have those on TV, because like streaming service live sports, I know from experience, Hulu does live sports, but they're so far behind the actual game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a couple of my friends who used to live in the area, they moved away, and they don't have cable where they're at. They just use streaming, and they
Hmm.
use streaming for live sports, and they're always very behind, so I can't spoil the game.
Oh, well,
So
that's annoying.
in that aspect, there will always be some form of television, because people are never going to stop watching sports.
Hmm. Well, yeah, sports is probably the main thing. I mean, the only thing that I can't really tell you anything other than wrestling, really, that I'm watching on television. That I'm like, oh, I've got to watch this at this time, and this is when it's on, and that's when I'm going to watch it when I do get to watch it live. Everything else is, like, for example, like, oh, it's time to go to bed. I'm going to put something on YouTube. I'm going to put something on Netflix or Disney
Yep.
Plus or the WWE Network or whatever it may be. Everything is from my phone to my Chromecast, and it's all stuff that I pay for instead of watching, cable or whatever you want to watch. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not watching that ever. Even like, you think of music and everything, Kev, it's like, when was the last time you bought a physical CD? I can't remember the last time.
I
It's
do.
been a long
It
time.
was it was the last AC/DC album, which came out 6 years ago.
I think I have, like, so for like context, I think I have like my two favorite bands, Paramore, Hands Like Houses. I got like packs where it was like a t-shirt, vinyl, CD, but it's not like it's out of its plastic. That's just for collectible sake, that I'm like, I love these bands. It's for my little shrine of them. I don't even think I have anything in my house that'll actually play a CD other than like my PlayStation. Um, but
Yeah,
I just don't.
yeah, my Xbox is probably the only thing that could do that. And I only, and like, again, we talked about, I don't play video games very much. That's all I use my Xbox for, is to watch stuff.
Hey, my PlayStation gets used more for that kind of stuff than actually does for games, because
Yeah.
if I'm not streaming, I'm not really playing games all the time, unless, here and there. But it's definitely more in a day that I'm watching something on YouTube or Netflix or whatever. To kind of piggyback off that before we kind of wrap things up, have you been watching Mandalorian?
Oh God, I haven't, and I'm embarrassed. I'm
Oh my
embarrassed.
God, Kev, what the hell? I thought you were the one sure person that I'd be like, boom, he's watching The Mandalorian. We can say spoiler alert and we can start talking about it, but I guess never mind.
I'm gonna be honest though. I didn't watch last season. I didn't. I watched
What?
the first episode.
What? What are you doing? It's so good. It is
Yeah,
so
I don't.
good.
I don't know. I just never got. And the funny thing is, I have the Disney Plus subscription, and I got it for two reasons. I got it for The Mandalorian and for High School Musical,
Me too.
and I only watched one of those.
What the hell? You really, if you can listen to anything that I say to you, go and binge The Mandalorian up until where it's at. There's new episodes every Friday that are coming out now in the second season, and Sasha Banks is going to be in it at some point.
I've heard. The problem is, and this isn't just The Mandalorian. It's like every time someone says, "Oh, watch this show, watch that show," and I fire it up, whatever platform it's on, and I'm like looking at the main menu, and then I'm just like, just watch like some. I'll watch like Brooklyn Nine-Nine again, or I'll just watch like wrestling, or I'll just
I'm that way though.
I have a very hard time getting into new shows.
It is a commitment, isn't it? Because you're like, oh, but I might not like it, so it's a waste of time. So Disney Plus is a very good example of that because I look at all the new stuff on there. I'm like, I'm just gonna watch Lizzie McGuire again. Like, I'll just watch That So Raven or something. I'm happy with doing that. That's really what I have Disney Plus for, other than like Mandalorian. So I'll just watch what I know. But just you really need to go do it. You will not regret it, because I like genuinely like look forward to Mandalorian every Friday. I work every Friday night. I finish at 9 p.m. every Friday night. I come home. It's my takeaway night where I get McDonald's, and I come home and I watch Mandalorian and eat my McDonald's. And like a fuck ton of McDonald's. Like when I get McDonald's, because it's not even that good, but like when I get it, I want like a lot of it. So I just sit there and feast out.
I haven't had McDonald's in a while because they don't have the tenders anymore.
Oh, we just got the tenders here, like the like 100% chicken breast or something, aren't they?
Maybe they're back. I haven't got in a while. I don't know.
We get everything late though, so they're probably just catching up.
At the beginning of the pandemic, I went to McDonald's one day and I was like, "Oh, I'll get the 6-piece, buttermilk tender meal," and they're like, "Oh, we don't have it." I'm like, "Why?" And they're like, and then they didn't have an answer, so I just like got out of the drive-through line and went somewhere else.
I've done that before. Or
I just was so like locked in on the idea of having these tenders that I just was like, screw it, I'll just go somewhere else.
The other day I went to get ice cream from McDonald's, like the little cones, like the little chickens, and they didn't have any of the little cardboard, like the things they put the ice creams in so you can hold it.
Yes.
Like we've ran out, and I was on my own, and I'm like driving a car, and I had 2 ice creams, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, this is gonna go everywhere. So I had to like quickly eat one and then take it for my friend.
That's how when I like get food for the office, and I'm the guy who goes and gets it. And like the McDonald's is one like where if you get a bunch of drinks, they give you like that flimsy ass drink holder.
Oh yeah, and it's like this, and it's like, oh my God.
So like I'm like driving, and I have like one hand like over here, like I'm like,
I hate that.
It turns so soft.
Oh me, yeah. I'm like in my car. I have like my drink and like the like the little bag of food, and you put it on the seat, and then you like go to turn. You're like, oh my God, if this goes everywhere, I can't eat this. And you're like trying to like turn the car like so slowly. It's so. Man,
one thing I always do, whether I'm getting food for multiple people or for myself, is I buckle in the bag in the passenger seat, just in case.
I've done that before. I should do that way more often.
Not that I don't trust myself behind the wheel, but like you never know when asshole's gonna like cut you off or something.
Yeah, exactly. I like so. I don't eat McDonald's that much, but I go and get like an iced latte or something like that. Oh, that sounds very stereotypical gay man of me, but I don't care. It's like I go and get like an iced latte or something, and I'll be like, I go up to the window to like pay, and I'm just thinking like, they see me here every day, and they're probably just like, this dude drinks so many freaking iced coffees and stuff like this. I'm like, yep, me again. Like, I'm just like, just give me my drink and just let me go.
That's probably how the attendants over at the gas station feel, because I get 2 sodas every day.
And you're just like, oh, it's low-key embarrassing. You're like, oh, I want one real bad, but also like, I hope it's not the same person that served me yesterday, because like, I don't. Like, I'm here again. I understand. Just give me my drink and I'll be,
See, at McDonald's, you could pull that off, or you're not getting the same person. Gas station's got like 2 employees.
So it's like either that person or that person. It's like, oh, you again. It's like, yeah.
Oh, and I walk up to the counter and like, oh, Coca-Cola again today. Like, every day, sir.
I've done the thing. This is really embarrassing. Oh, I don't. Yeah, fuck it. I'll tell you. So I've gone into like a fast food place or some kind of place where I'm pretty known in there because I live in a fairly small town, so like everyone knows
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
But I've literally got out my phone before and said, "Oh, this order's for a friend," when it's just for me.
Oh, that's a little embarrassing.
Because like I'm kind of fussy with like certain things. Like I don't like tomato and I don't really like mayonnaise. So like I'm always like, can I sub this or can I, I don't want this. So I'm
Okay,
like,
so
oh,
yeah,
my friend's kind of fussy, and I'm
yeah,
like, oh,
you blame it on someone else. I understand. I don't think I've ever done it, but I understand it.
I've done it multiple times. That's horrible. I'm like, I should just, but I'm just like, oh, I don't want them to think I'm a weirdo that doesn't eat
Yeah, well,
mayonnaise. So just
I don't like mayonnaise either. Tomatoes are
it's
good though.
gross. I hate mayonnaise. It's disgusting.
I
I
don't.
don't understand how
A lot
anyone
of
eats
people do.
that.
I don't.
It's disgusting. I'm like, I would rather have it dry with nothing on it than mayonnaise. I'm like, ugh. It's just so like gross. Just not a good time. See
Yeah.
what I mean about this show? We've literally started with talking about the US election and we've now spiraled into McDonald's. I don't know how we got there, but we did.
There's nothing more American than McDonald's.
That's probably actually true. Americans love. We get all the fast food from America, to be completely honest. So,
It's good. I mean,
I'm not
I as
complaining.
someone who works through dinner and oftentimes has to grab something real quick because I might
Mhm.
have something to do, I might have somewhere to be. McDonald's, Subway, if I have a little bit of time, because you can't really just eat a
Subway,
full length,
yeah.
can't really eat a full length hoagie behind the wheel of a car. But
Imagine that. Like it just
I
go
do eat
everywhere and yeah,
definitely
nightmare.
too much fat. Definitely eat too much fast food, but like
Hmm.
it's just so
Me
easy
too.
and it's cheap and like I don't make a lot
Yep.
of money, so.
Hey, I'm the same, so no complaints from me. Well, this has been fun catching up.
Oh
I hope
yes.
you enjoyed this episode of Wrestling Reverb. Maybe I should put the reverb intro in this episode. I might play it in the outro.
You just gotta cut over it where it's like, hey yo, Josh, give me a little bit of stick the name of the show in.
I've got to do something. Maybe I'll play it in the outro or something, just for like, and we can just cry. Everyone can just sob.
Oh,
One day, maybe, Kevin. We probably won't be watching wrestling one day, so we'll just be like, well, we can't do the show anymore. Who knows? I'm sure we'll do another round two of this show together at some point. So this was a
sure.
lot of fun. Floor is yours, of course. Are you still writing? I didn't really ask that, but are you
Well,
still writing?
I've sort of taken a bit of a hiatus from the wrestling blog. Obviously, you have to watch wrestling to write about
Mm-hmm.
wrestling. But and you may have seen and I know our buddies Mags and Tanner and now Steven with Headlock Talk are
Mm-hmm.
affiliated with Shooting the Sports Ish, which is a website sort of founded by a couple of people, including Anthony from Smart to Death.
Mm-hmm.
He reached out and I reached out to him and I was like, dude, I love sports. I as a news writer, I don't get to write about sports except for football on Fridays, like 6 weeks a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I do miss that because I went to college as a sports writer. That's what I did at school. That's what I love to do. And as much as I like news, the news cycle could be harsh, and especially this year, it's
Draining.
beaten me down a little bit to
Draining.
be quite honest. So I saw an opportunity to write about sports, and I was like, yeah, I'll jump on, and that's what I've been doing. And I'll probably have something out tomorrow concerning some college football games, so you could look for that on both of my Twitters. I know I have two of them. TL Kevin Carroll is my personal one, and at Kevin C Wrestling is my wrestling one. That one will never go away, even if I just completely stop watching wrestling, because that's the account I use to talk to Josh and I talk to all of
Mm-hmm.
our buddies and I boost stuff and I'll never get rid of that. Never, absolutely not.
Yeah, so make sure you go and follow Kevin if you aren't already. I'm sure if by this point you probably are. If you're following me, you're probably following Kevin as well. So,
Yeah,
but
we're conjoined at the hip.
we'll always be tied in some weird way. It'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, but it was a lot of fun catching up. We need to do this more often than we shouldn't. But in the sense of everything, Kev, I'm sure I'll talk to you between now and Christmas. But from my voice, have a lovely Christmas, and I hope you can actually see all your family and stuff like that. I don't know what's going to go on pandemic wise. So
Yeah, we're talking it out, but yeah, have a great holiday to you and yours, and just keep the faith, and I can't wait to do this again soon.
absolutely, my dude. I am sure we will. I'll keep chatting with you on Twitter, of course. So, peace out, my man, Kev. I told you we would get to McDonald's. We got to McDonald's. What a conversation. We talked about a little bit of everything, which is what I really love about this show. It is a lot of fun to do. Like I said at the beginning of the show, make sure to follow me at JoshRobinson00 pretty much across the board. All my links are in the description below. Make sure you go to superkicks.com. That's SPRKIX.com. Use the code Josh00. You get yourself free shipping. Make sure you leave a thumbs up if you are watching on YouTube and sub away if you haven't already. Twitch.tv/JoshRobinson00. I hang out 4 or 5 times a week and play all different kinds of games with a semi-focus, of course, on professional wrestling. That is where my bread and butter is at this stage, and it's where I'm putting a lot of my focus and attention on. So come and hang out. I stream at all different kinds of times of the day, so you can always kind of catch it in your time zone. I'm trying to make it a little bit more of an effort to do that, so then you can kind of see any time of the day that I'll be live. So come and hang out there. It's a lot of fun, and it's where I'm trying to like build everything, I guess. Yeah, basically, if you're listening to an audio feed, thank you very much. I do encourage you, of course, to watch the video feed, but if you are listening on audio, it all works the same to me. You're still hearing these wonderful conversations, so thank you very much, and until next time on Are We Recording Yet, it's peace out.
Hey, yo, Josh, let me get a little bit of reverb. Yeah. J. Will. Yeah, I'm about that lifestyle. I talk green work, repping it all over. It's right on the t-shirt. Fan for a lifetime. Yeah, that's a long pass. Figure I would show some love right on the podcast. Turn this up loud and make sure you don't do nothing else. Cause if you're listening to us, then you're improving your health. My name is J. Will. Welcome to the show, yeah. Wrestle, flow, 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 yeah.